Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Marilyn's Cafe Society show. It's Saturday, March the 10th, the 68th day of 2018. And of course, we are supposed to spring ahead tonight. Are you ready? Are you ready? Well, ready or not, you have to spring ahead. Set your clock up 1 hour before you go to sleep tonight so that you'll be on schedule with everyone else in the Midwest and I think the East Coast. I'm not sure about the other folks, but anyway, make sure you spring ahead. I'm anticipating it because despite the fact that we'll be losing an hour, we will be gaining more daylight, and I love light. So let that sink in for a minute. All right, so we'll do this day in history real quick. Let's see. Did you know that in 1959, the Barbie doll was introduced at the American Toy Fair in New York City? And since then, over 1 billion dolls have been sold worldwide. But wait, yesterday was Barbie Day. And of course, next year, Barbie will be turning 60 years old. Wow, she still looks pretty good, huh? All right, so speaking of Barbie, and of course, thinking of Women's History Month, this is the month of March. Have you heard that the three characters slash actresses from Disney's new movie, A Wrinkle in Time, will be having their own or have their own Barbie dolls now? And of course, um, Oprah, who plays Mrs. Which, has one. Mindy Kaling, who plays Mrs. Who, has one. And Reese Witherspoon, who plays Mrs. Whatsit, has a Barbie doll. So yay for them. That's a big deal. It's not easy to get your own Barbie doll these days. All right, and speaking of that movie, A Wrinkle in Time, did you get out to the theaters last night to see it opening night? I didn't. I was working, but I plan to later on today. I did talk to a few people earlier this morning who said that it was everything that they expected it to be. So I can't wait to see it. All right. And let's see. Thinking of Women's History Month, of course, next week and the following Saturday, I'll be featuring some women for Women's History Month. But right now, during this time, as I shared last time on the broadcast, I'm just thinking about my mama, and all that she accomplished in her life. She didn't make a big international or national name for herself, but she um, defeated some great odds and overcame so much. And so I'm remembering her. We were off, or I was off of this last weekend because we spent some time on the anniversary of her transitioning to Heaven Day, which was last Saturday. We all spent some time together and did some things in her honor. So she was indeed, in my opinion, a woman ahead of her time in the way she thought. Not a perfect woman, by no means, and none of us are. But obviously, she had some strong beliefs, and I just think she was ahead of her time. All right, and we miss you, Mom. Okay, so International Women's Day was, was it Wednesday? This past week. And I, have been thinking for the last week or so something I could do. What could I do on that day? And my creative juices just were not flowing, so I did not come up with anything. But I hope you did something. And of course, I think I was off social media that day, and I didn't get a chance to chime in on anything. But I hope you guys did. I do remember hearing the story about McDonald's flipping, some all of them, but some of them flipping the logo, the M, and turning it to a W in honor of International Women's Day. So that was really cool. All right, and so let's see, what else? What else? How was your week? What's been happening? Was able to, a couple days this week, be on social media for a bit, so I had some fun with that. And it's always cool to connect with people on social media and chat with them a bit. So another thing that I did, and I hope you did too, and I want to encourage you to do it, and that is to educate yourself. Here in the state of Illinois, I don't know about anywhere else, but here in the state of Illinois, we have an election coming up. And so I spent some time studying and learning about some of the candidates that are running for office. And I encourage you to do your research and due diligence, read up on them, and become an informed voter because that is so crucial, everybody. All right. And, I'm trying to get back into the swing of things in that regard. I think I shared with you guys a few years ago, maybe more, that I have helped register people to vote, and I have helped in some campaigns in the past, and that's my part. And so beyond the voting, I think we all should kind of get a bit more involved in that political process. All right, so it's been couple Saturdays since, at least one Saturday since we've checked in, and I did want to spend some time looking at some news, and I know you guys heard about this. There's been another school shooting, sadly. It happened in Birmingham, Alabama. This past Wednesday, a 17-year-old female lost her life. A 17-year-old boy was injured, and of course the local authorities have said that they believe the shooter was not someone from outside the building, and they had no other comments beyond that. So, it's just more food for thought, and of course prayers go out to the families of those victims and students. Business news, State Farm Insurance Company announced that they are cutting close to 900 jobs, IT jobs, for goodness sake. At its Bloomington, Illinois headquarters now, they're reporting that about 380 of those jobs are moving out of state, and it's all part of their realignment and downsizing efforts that they started back in October of last year. Now, it's reported that some of the employees, the affected employees, will have the opportunity to retire or do early retirement, and others can apply for jobs in other departments of the State Farm Company, and some will follow their jobs to a new out-of-state location at State Farm. So, that's the good news. It doesn't sound like, folks are just going to be left without jobs. By the way, State Farm employs about 65,000 nationwide. But, the shocker here for me is IT, technical job cut. And we've been telling the young people for the last 20 years or so, IT is the way to go when you think about earning money and, of course, job security. And so we're hearing that these IT jobs are being cut. Now, I wonder if, perhaps they are moving into the newer technology, and maybe some of those tech people, especially when they say that some can retire, I wonder if they were from the older generation of technology, so to speak. But shocker in that regard. All right, and then real quick in entertainment news, the Academy Awards, the Oscars, happened in LA this past Sunday. I caught some of it, not all of it, but of course, Jimmy Kimmel was the host, and the Me Too, Time's Up movement and inclusion were on the platform of a lot of those individuals who graced the stage as winners of Oscars or otherwise. And now I've been reading that pay equity for women in Hollywood, especially women of color, is the big hot topic. And so Viola Davis, Octavia Spencer, Monique, and others have recently spoken out. In fact, Viola Davis did an interview with Forbes magazine recently, and she, of course, said, I'm going to read the piece that from the Chicago Tribune. It says that she said, if Caucasian women are getting 50% of what men are getting paid, we're, meaning black women, are not even getting a quarter of what the white women are getting paid. And so there you have it. She went on to say that Meryl Streep, Nicole Kidman, all of those highly paid white actresses deserve what they get because they put in the work. But she's also saying that herself and Octavia Spencer, Taraji P. Henson, Halle Berry, Regina King, the list goes on, put in work as well. And so they deserve to be paid well too. Now, the big question is why? Why is this still going on? This is 2018. Why is this still happening in Hollywood? And not just Hollywood, but pretty much across the board here in the United States. And there was a book that was published. I don't have the year. I'm thinking maybe this is 2018, maybe in 2014, there was a book published called Age, Gender, and Compensation, a study of Hollywood movie stars that kind of address that issue of the pay disparities and why it happens. And the author pretty much said that it all kind of falls under that psychology and social, that people have been trained to think socially in their communities, homes, and so forth, where biases creep up, and so when you're in those positions to determine what you're going to pay someone, those biases that you learned or that were taught to you creep up. And so that's why, that's one reason why they're suggesting that this pay equity is happening, because those people feel like, people of color, African Americans, for one, are subpar to begin with. And, and then those biases about women and how men feel about women. After all, a lot of men are in this, are in the positions of making the decisions about pay and promotion and so forth. So that's the biggest explanation to why this is still happening. Now, of course, we know that, these highly paid actresses like Halle Berry and Octavia and Viola, they all have agents who are the voice, who should be, speaking on their behalf and looking out for them. And so are those agents not fighting enough for them? Or, that could be another factor. All right. And then, of course, we all heard about Monique, the comedian actress Monique, who also has an Oscar, by the way. She recently went public with an issue that she had with Netflix, who offered her $500,000 to do a comedy special. And of course, there were other terms in the agreement that would pretty much lock her down for a year or more before she could go on to do other things to earn income for herself and her family. And so she went public because she thought the agreement was did not match her accomplishments and experience in the industry. And she did the work and knew that Amy Schumer, who is another comedian who happens to be a white woman, was paid $11 million for her special. So, things don't add up there. Of course, Monique did not get the support that she wanted. She called for a boycott of Netflix. And, when you're talking about other people's income and ways to make money for themselves, it's hard to get people on board to support you in that respect. But some are suggesting if she had taken a different approach and made it a bigger issue and more than just about herself, perhaps maybe more people would have been on board to support her in that. So, this pay equity thing is a big deal in Hollywood, and as we are learning or have all, especially those who have been listening to my show for a while, the American Association of University Women, the AAUW, has been on top of this for a very long time now in terms of equity for women, not just in Hollywood, in all sectors of work here. And we're hoping, we're hopeful, I should say, that things will get better soon. All right, so I also went to see the Black Panther movie, and the theater, I must say, was packed. It was very diverse, young, old, black, white, and we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. Now, I'm not a Marvel person. I did not do the comic books growing up or any of that, but I gotta tell you, this movie was incredible, incredible. It was a beautiful piece of cinematography. It honored black people in a way, black people and women in a way that, kind of moved me to tears. It's just beautiful. And so if you haven't seen it, you really need to go see it. And listen, sit through all the credits. Don't leave once the credits start to roll, because you're going to miss some stuff. And then when that second set of credits start to roll, don't leave because you're going to miss some stuff. So sit through until the screen just goes black, okay? All right, and by the way, speaking of Black Panther, I heard that they this weekend they're expected to hit $1 billion. That's a big deal. All right, last thing before we go, cafe talk. Here it is. Would you like to see daylight savings time become permanent? Since we're springing ahead tonight, would you like to see that become permanent? Just always be on daylight savings time? I would, because like I said earlier, I like light. I like it. All right. And then, of course, I have to tell you what love is. And love is women. It's Women's History Month. So make sure that you love on some women in a positive way this month. I do want to remind you, you can find me on Twitter, Marilyn's Cafe Social, on Facebook, Marilyn's Cafe Society. Go to my Marilyn's Cafe Society page and Facebook spot and like it or follow me. All right, let's get those numbers up. And also Maryland's Cafe Society.com and YouTube, Maryland's Cafe Society channel on YouTube. All right, everybody, we got to run. We are, continuing to make this broadcast better and better, and very, very much like the radio show, only we're doing the visual. You seeing me do it. But just bear with us. We'll be rolling out things officially that first or second weekend in April. So make sure that you mark your calendars for that. All right. All right. Well, as always, it's been a pleasure and a privilege. And if you don't do anything else this week, be sure that you live, you laugh, and you love. Peace, everybody. Remember, spring ahead tonight.